Hey guys, welcome back. I wanted to talk about a water heater issue I had recently with one of my resident. Here you can see I installed a brand new water heater. It was obviously, the old one was not heating, so I figured, and I tried multiple things like replacing elements from the top and the bottom. I even replaced the thermostats on the top and the bottom as well. I had a whole kit that came with everything, so I replaced everything. And I measured voltages between, the one screw here to the ground and then the other screw to the ground, and they both read 120. I also measured from here to ground is 120, here to ground was 120, and I did similar thing at the bottom element as well, and everything checked out. And I was puzzled because I have new elements and I have power, and my wiring was exactly as the previous one, so I couldn't figure out what was going on. And after some time, one thing I learned after talking to one of my friends, he said I need to measure across from this screw to this screw, and I should be getting 240, or if you measure between these two screws, you should be getting 240. Well, it turns out it wasn't reading it. It was reading like 0.12, and I'm like, what? And again, this is a brand new water heater, so same thing. I did the same testing before with the ground. Well, this screw to the ground, this screw to the ground, but I didn't measure across. So when I came back today to measure across, was not reading the 240. So what I started doing is at the top, I disconnected, and I thought it was a breaker. He said your breaker might be gone. So what I did is I bought some breakers. I didn't know which breaker I had. So basically, first thing I did is I measured between these two screws while this is still plugged in, and it was reading 240, 245 actually. So then I knew, okay, the power is coming in through here, so it's not the breaker. So I make sure it was seated properly. Then I came back and unscrewed my top connections, both the wires, and I measured just on this wire without connecting to the water heater, and I was getting 240. So I'm like, wait a minute, why am I getting 240 here and not down here? Well, turns out when I installed this, so I don't know if this is what the issue was on my previous one, but on this one at least, my relief valve is on the top versus the side. The previous one had it on the side here, and that's why this drain was connected right here. So I need to figure out I need to bring another pipe to get this connected. But anyways, when I noticed the first time I did this, this wasn't tight enough, so I had water coming in, and this little region here, it's a little cup kind of thing. If you see, it was filled with water, and I didn't realize it. And I do have the ground connected in there too. So I cleaned all of that out, like sucked up all the water, and then I connected back up. And when I measured again between these two screws here, now I was getting 240. So I don't know, I didn't realize I had water in here, but I don't know why the previous one didn't work, because it didn't have the water in there. So anyway, I want to bring this up to you guys. The new thing I learned about installing elements and water heater related. This is electric, obviously. So again, you have two elements, and usually corrosion will burn the bottom one out pretty quickly. So a lot of times you can just replace it, and then it's pretty straightforward. But this one was really scratching my head, so I had to figure out. And then after speaking to one of my friends who actually is a little more knowledgeable in water heaters, he mentioned to ask me to measure between these two, and then I should get 240. So don't measure just between this one and ground, because that necessarily, even though it's getting power, there may be something else funny happening with the ground. So there is a ground up here, and I think that's what was happening. The ground was getting watered out somehow, and it wasn't getting the proper voltage that it needed. So again, this is a 240 voltage water heater, so be very careful, guys, when you're working with this. You definitely don't want to get shocked, and definitely this is not recommended either. I was about to replace the breaker, but luckily before I did that process, I checked everything again, and voila, that's what was the issue. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope this helped you guys out. Bye bye.